It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll?
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Rife, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here from Nashville. It's race number 14 of 36 of this season, the Dr. Pepper 400, as we get set for another race under the lights here tonight on this concrete semi-intermediate. It's kind of a mix of the two, short track and intermediate, but we take you to the racetrack nonetheless for your starting lineup in tonight's race. Is starting on the pole today, it's going to be Carl Edwards in the number 19 car, joined by his teammate DJ Kennington on the front row, making it a Gibbs 1-2 as we get set for tonight's race. Montoya in the 84 is going to start from the third position, and JJ Yaley will be in P number 4 in the 10, a great qualifying for that PPC entry. Kevin Harvick makes it 3 of the Joe Gibbs cars in the top 5 as he starts in 5th, and Clint Boyer will start from the 6th position. Casey Mears, the rookie, in 7th, and Kyle Busch starts from the 8th position. Matt Kenseth will be in P number 9, and P10 goes to Todd Bodine in the 77. Scott Riggs will be in 11th, and Brad Keselowski is in the 12th position for tonight's race. Jimmy Johnson starts from P13, and 14th, that'll be Jason Leffler. 15th goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Casey Kane starts in the 16th position. Greg Biffle will be P17, and Marcos Ambrose in the 18th spot. Robbie Gordon is in 19th, and Bobby Labonte will be in the 20th position. 21st goes to John Andretti, and Jeff Gordon starts from 22nd. Eric Norris will be in 23rd, Kurt Busch starting from the 24th spot. Martin Truex Jr., P25, and Jeremy Mayfield in the 26th position. 27th, that'll be Ryan Newman. Elliott Sadler starts from 28th. 29th is TJ Bell in the 26th car this week. And Scott Wimmer will be in the 30th position. 31st, Jamie McMurray's number 40. And Jeff Burton in the 32nd spot. Boris said he'll be in the 06 today. He's 33rd. Ricky Hendrick starts 34th. David Reagan will be 35th in the 07. Tony Stewart is in 36th place. 37th, that'll be Casey Atwood. Brian Vickers starts 38th. Ron Hornaday Jr. will be 39th, and David Rudiman in 40th. And rounding out the field in the back row, Shane Meal in the 47 in 41st place, and Morgan Shepherd in the 89 in 42nd. To round out your 42-car field here tonight from Nashville. 102 laps is your race length tonight. We take you to the racetrack for the most famous words in motorsports, the command here from Nashville Superspeedway.
Drivers, start your Legends!
Field roars to life as we get set to go. Edwards and Kennington going to start first and second as we roll off for our pace lap here tonight. Hurry lap gets set, as always, for another race and another weekend of action as Robbie Gordon lost the points lead last weekend out. This weekend, it was DJ Kennington entering today's race by just 1 point over Tony Stewart in the points lead, though it is a much better start for Kennington, going to be starting in second, while Tony Stewart a long, long way down the order after Saturday night qualifying. But Kennington going to start in the second position, Edwards in first. This season continuing to wind away as we get closer and closer to that halfway mark in the season, as you get your sense over and over again about where you're going to be ending up over this season in terms of competition, where drivers are at, and you're getting that sense of where they're going to finish in the end of season standings, but still a long way left to go. A lot of racing here tonight. It's 102 laps here in the Dr. Pepper 400 from Nashville. You're going to see a lot of action, guys getting spread out. It's a racetrack that favors guys who like to get up front and stay up front. This racetrack racing isn't close, but it sure is competitive over who's going to have the best car. Pace car in, approaching the start finish to start tonight's race, and we are underway here from Nashville. It's the Dr. Pepper 400. Field up to speed and out of turn 4, and you're seeing a battle for the lead already as Montoya is number 84 trying to take away the early lead from the pole sitter Edwards. Kennington found his way to the bottom, got through and to his teammate, but Montoya off to a great start in tonight's race as he moves right up into the first position. Kennington side by side with the 19 for second. They're side by side for fourth further on back as Kenseth off to a rocket start in tonight's race as well. He moves to P4. Kennington into the second position. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick trying to move and lock up a spot in the top 5 early in tonight's running. Again, we talk about this racetrack. It's really easy to stay up front here. We see these guys really string out over the course of a race. A lot of laps, a lot of corners to work with, and these guys are really going to start to string out, but you see the battle for the lead kicking off again, as we're going to see another early lead change. DJ Kennington's number 81 past the 84. And now he moves into the lead, taking lap number 4. Kenseth also off to the races quickly. He tries to move to second place ahead of Montoya and does just that. Juan Pablo Montoya going to try and maybe make a crossover move here for the second position down the backstretch. Does exactly that. And he's going to hold on to that second position with the counterattack down the back. Kenseth back down to third, battling for fourth. Edwards and Harvick as this 19 starting to slip backwards from that pole position. Jimmy Johnson picking up position since the start of the race. Moves into the sixth position. Everybody getting sorted out in the back end of the field as well. No early incidents so far in the show here tonight. Again, Edwards stuck on that outside. This is another one of those racetracks where at these intermediates, we've seen it over the last couple of years that that outer line can work as a defensive line, but so far not really seeing much in that top lane over the course of this race. Again, first race at this racetrack in this new Gen 5. Seeing these guys start to single file out after a couple of laps. Kenseth holding on to third place narrowly over Kevin Harvick in fourth. Fifth place belonging to Jimmy Johnson. Kennington has pulled away just a little bit from the lead. Montoya trying to regroup and run that 81 car down for first. A couple of Cup rookies, first and second. As the top 5 have broken away just a little bit, it's Mears, the 55, off to a very good start in tonight's race. A lot of rookies up front here tonight as the 55 runs in 6th. Casey Kane side by side with Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is for the 7th position. First battle side by side on track as Kane moves up a place. Edwards has dropped down to 9th since the drop of the green flag in just 8 laps. Edwards has averaged a position, lost a lap so far in tonight's race. Rough start for this McDonald's Chevrolet. You see battle for the top 10 as Brad Keselowski off to a good start in tonight's race as well. He moves into the 10th position. Andretti and Robbie Gordon now side by side. That's for 11th place. Another driver who has dropped a lot of spots since the start is J.J. Yaley, although he has picked up a couple positions this lap, moves into 15th. Eric Norris having himself a good race. McMurray as well, a nice recovery drive into 18th spot. Seeing a lot of movers early in the running. This order has really been shaken up since the drop of the green flag as compared to the qualifying results. Seeing a lot of guys move forward and backwards. And that's the nature of Nashville restarts. They get really hectic at this racetrack. You see a lot of guys moving forwards and backwards, but they're going to string out over the course of the longer run. Kenseth dropped down a position, all the way down to 5th as a matter of fact, but gets back to 4th place in front of Jimmy Johnson's 48. And for the 17, Kenseth was entered in the Roush 60 in the Saturday night Busch race and dominated that race. Him and his Roush teammate Scott Steckley in the 9 car absolutely dominated that race, led over 70 of 81, 82 laps, I believe it was, around that range. And despite Kenseth leading the most laps, leading over 40 of that race, got passed on a late race restart by Todd Cleaver's number 38, and Kenseth's long NASCAR Top Series winless streak continues as he once again came up short. It was back-to-back races for Kenseth, following that Cup race at Richmond last weekend, that he ended up coming up short for the win. And it started to boil over in the form of frustration for that 17 team and Kenseth as a whole in NASCAR, as he has really started to try and get aggressive for these top spots and said, especially with Roush, I'm running out of chances. Really starting to get to the point where you got to just wonder, when is it going to happen? We talk about him a lot, and it's not something you really want to talk about with a driver this talented. We all know how talented Matt Kenseth is, multi-time Cup winner. And just trying to find his way back to victory lane, and it has been clawing tooth and nail to try and find that win that has eluded him for so long. And once again, another prime chance for him here tonight. Has another top 5 car early in the running. As he makes a big run here, it was a battle for second in front of him between Montoya and Harvick. As a 20 makes it a Gibbs 1-2 once again. Kenseth trying to find a way around Montoya for third as they head down the front stretch. Kennington has once again pulled a bit of a gap to that second place car. His teammate in the form of Harvick. Kenseth, got into the back of Montoya a little bit there in turn 2. Again, talk about Kenseth being a little impatient. Running out of said patience, but backs him up into Jimmy Johnson's 48. But out of turn 4 on that outside, 3 and 4 is where that outside works the best as a defensive line, and Kenseth holds on to the 4th position. Once again, you're seeing this top 5 just a little bit further in front of everybody else, though at the moment Earnhardt Jr. and Casey Kane battling for 6th, trying to find their way back up closer as Carl Edwards has regrouped and pulled back into 8th place in front of Mears, who's dropped a couple of positions over the last few laps. 9th belonging to Riggs. Excuse me, 9th belonging to that 55. Just said that. And Riggs rounding out the top 10 right in front of Robbie Gordon, who has gotten off to a fabulous comeback drive so far in tonight's race. Moved all the way up to 11th. Battling for second again. Montoya and Harvick for this position. Jimmy Johnson thinking about taking it 3 wide on the front stretch, and he's going to do just that. 2017 48, real tight going off into turn 1, and Jimmy Johnson gets past the both of them. And the 51 of Norris is having an engine issue and blowing up, and this is contact in front of the field. Caution's going to come out as Eric Norris got ran up the back end. That was by Ryan Newman's 38. Getting into the back of him, and Norris having a pretty solid run come to an end early, and DJ Kennington leads the field to the yellow flag as now Matt Kenseth blows up. Taking the yellow flag from the top 5, another rough break for this 17 team. And just the streak of bad luck continues, and Kenseth drops a motor. You gotta wonder if maybe he ran over something off of that 51 car or just had a mechanical issue, and under the yellow flag, Kenseth is going to be a DNF here tonight. And that is a real rough break for the 17, who is having a fantastic run. And again, bad luck strikes for Roush. And Kenseth is going to have to bring it to the garage here under yellow. Lap number 19 here from Nashville Superspeedway, as DJ Kennington is going to lead the field down pit road for the first time in tonight's race. Jimmy Johnson brings it in on his left. Second place runner there. And Kennington in for 4 tires and fuel, joined by his pole-sitting teammate Carl Edwards right in front, Montoya behind him. Tires and fuel go on for Kennington. And it is going to be a retirement for Kenseth as the 81 wins the race off of pit road. Pretty long hold there for Edwards, dropped a couple of positions. But Kennington is the leader off of the pit lane. We take it to intermission here from Nashville as the 81 sits in the lead. Lap number 20 here from the Dr. Pepper 400. So be going green this time by here at Nashville as DJ Kennington, the early leader, dominating the early showing in this race, pulled away from that race lead. And he holds the lead off of pit road under yellow flag pit stops. He will be in first. Jimmy Johnson starts from the second position. Juan Pablo Montoya will be in third. Kevin Harvick fourth. And Casey Kane rounds out the top 5 as the rest of the top 10 goes Mears, Edwards, Riggs, Gordon, and Truex Jr. 28 having a good run in tonight's race. This will be restarting on lap number 23. Really shows signs of that 81 looking strong early in the running. Got a lot of race left here tonight for somebody to make a run at him for first. Kennington had a great start on the first initial start of the race. Montoya also had a great start from third. But we bring it to the start-finish here. Lap number 23, green flag is in the air. Jimmy Johnson taking a look to the outside. Montoya followed him, but it opened the door for Harvick on the bottom. So did Mears. Kennington, a great run out of turn 2 that time. Harvick moves into third. Montoya under fire on the restart. Less of a good start this time as Mears trying to move into the top 5 and does. Might even take away fourth. And he will do exactly that. A great run out of this 55. And a great restart from the State Farm Chevrolet. Edwards trying to follow through back into the top 5, and he does so. Ooh, might have been contact almost between Montoya and Kane as Montoya got very sideways there on the outside, beginning to hemorrhage spots since the restart. Might even fall all the way out of the top 10, still stuck on the outside. Kennington off to the races. Jimmy Johnson not far behind him in second. Harvick moved to third. Fourth is Mears. Fifth is Edwards. Just barely shutting the door on Robbie Gordon's number 31 as Kane moves into the picture in the 12. He's going to move underneath of Robbie Gordon. This is for sixth. And man, what a dive bomb into turn 3. And he made it stick. What a move by Casey Kane. Up 2 places. He moves into the top 5. That was a huge dive bomb on the bottom into 3. And he made that thing stick. Now Robbie Gordon's going to move underneath the Carl Edwards try and take away the 6th position, and will do so. Montoya stabilized the fall. Now holds on to P8. 9th is Andretti, and Riggs rounds out the top 10 at the moment. Jimmy Johnson is reeling in DJ Kennington for the lead. Might make it the first lead change in about 20 laps as he drives it down onto the bottom in turn number 3. Kennington trying to hold strong on the outside, but that is not going to happen as Jimmy Johnson moves up into the race lead here on lap number 27. Takes lap 28. His first lap lead of the night. Kennington going to try and mount a counterattack, but unable to do so. Holding on to that back bumper is the 81 of Kennington, not letting Johnson out of his sights. Harvick not too far out in 3rd. Kane continuing his march forward as he sits in 4th. Looking like he's found something after the first pit stop. Robbie Gordon trying to move back into the top 5. Ahead of Mears, who's now stuck up on that outside, but got a good run down the front stretch. Holding with that 19 and 31, but unable to hold on to Robbie Gordon as he moves into the 5th position. Edwards to 6th, and Montoya makes it a big run out of turn 2 to make it 3 spots for this 55 if he can get underneath into 3, and he will do so. Side by side out of turn 4. These two scrap. Meanwhile, up front, Kennington unable to find a way past this 48 just yet and retake the lead, but he's still right on the back bumper of that Lowe's Chevrolet. Still not quite able to find a way underneath that 48 car. Andretti in the 21, another driver who's come alive on this run. He moves into P8 past the 84 of Montoya as Montoya drops another position to Tony Stewart, who moves into 9th place. But Andretti's going to yield a position to Stewart, who makes it 2 for 1 there in 3 and 4. Goes all the way up to the 8th spot. Tony Stewart, another driver who's coming alive here. And another driver not far out of that championship lead. As Mears throwing a big block on Stewart out of turn 2 that time, but Tony had too big of a run. Crosses him over down onto the bottom and moves up another place, 42 into 7th. And Kennington fell way off of the 48. And dropped down to 3rd, going to even fall to 4th place as Casey Kane once again continuing that mid-race charge. He moves up into the podium places. Robbie Gordon battling with Kennington now. Still side by side by the two Chevrolets out of turn 4 that time. So it's Kevin Harvick who takes over the 2nd position. Last week's winner, Richmond, got his first win of the 2007 season. Having another strong run here tonight in the Home Depot Chevrolet, and he sits, say, just about a second out of the lead, belonging to the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Kennington, counterattack on Robbie Gordon to retake P4. Edwards moves into the mix to make it a 3-horse race for this spot. Gordon just about throws a block on that 19 to hold him off. Race leader Jimmy Johnson still a long way out in front. Also another driver who had a mechanical failure under that yellow flag. We had 3 straight mechanical failures under that caution, and Bobby Labonte, the 18, was another driver who had a mechanical problem. So an early and to the 18s day. Didn't even notice that one. Right now it's still about a second lead for Johnson, but Harvick still trying to run that 48 down. But another driver who is nipping at the heels for second place. This is Casey Kane, who has sliced and diced his way through the top 10 and 5 over the course of this green flag run. Now about 15 or so laps completed since the green flag dropped on this run. Had a big run on Harvick out of turn 2. That time did Kane. He's going to take a look into turn 3, and once again, another big dive bomb going into turn 3. Question is, Harvick keeps it there on the outside. In fact, had a great run out of turn 4. Nosing ahead as they head towards turn 1 this time. Kane just about keeps it on the bottom. Enough to take advantage of the shorter way round, and Kennington a big run on his teammate. Kane clear for second. Kennington might try and take third. And he is going to drive it off into turn 3, but really got a little loose there on the bottom, and Harvick holds him off. Stays in third place. Thought about mounting a counterattack on Kane for second. Really thinking about it into turn 1, but Kane, can he block him? He cannot. Harvick pins it down on the bottom to get underneath of the 12. 2x2 as they head down the backstretch as Robbie Gordon gets underneath of the 81. Kane trying to do what Harvick did out of turn 4 a couple of times ago. Get the run down the front stretch, and he did just that. And he's going to block Harvick from making a move down into turn 1. That opens the door for Robbie Gordon to try and take third. Carl Edwards is pulling into this mix. It's 3 Gibbs cars and Robbie Gordon, and now Tony Stewart joins the mix as well. 5 cars under a blanket for third. Kane pulling away now as Robbie Gordon moves into the third place. Tell you another driver who's made a big comeback run in tonight's race, McMurray, another Ganassi car, who has pulled into the mix. He's in 10th. 9th belongs to Andretti. 8th is Mears. Robbie Gordon thinking about making a big lunge on Kane into turn 3, and he does so. It's really just been the battle for second all night long, even when Kennington was the one leading the race. But again, Kane, the big run on the outside out of turn 4 to hold on. But Gordon's not going to make it easy on him, trying to sneak underneath in 1. Couldn't do it. Kevin Harvick now pulls underneath of the 31 to try to make a move for third place. Going to go all the way to the bottom, all the way underneath the Kane. Oh, and contact! Robbie Gordon and DJ Kennington got into each other that time. Get a look back at this as Kennington followed through on the bottom with his teammate. Actually, Robbie Gordon got really loose, and Kennington, not really expecting that, got into the left rear of Robbie Gordon. Don't think Gordon's going to take too kindly to that, but he's got to contend with another Gibbs car in the form of the 19 on the bottom, and Harvick is going to complete the pass on Kane for second. This is allowing Jimmy Johnson to open up his gap in the lead. It's now backed up to about a second and a half between him and second place Kevin Harvick. Kennington into third. But Kane not going to let that move last as he ducks underneath the 81 car. Approaching halfway in tonight's race. Just a couple of laps from that halfway mark. It'll be lap number 52. Taking 51 completed and 51 to go. And 3 wide into turn 3. Casey Mears a big lunge on the bottom lane. Trying to get past the 31 and the 81 all the way on the bottom. Gordon, no speed in the middle. It's just going to be the 81 and 55. And Casey Mears moves up a couple positions on the bottom and 3 wide again as Robbie Gordon drops out of it. McMurray moves up a couple of places past the 21 and 31. And a bunch of positions change hands there in a couple of laps. Casey Mears, what a move in the 55. Moves all the way up into 6. Might have a say for P5 against Carl Edwards. And he is going to have a say. Huge move. Casey Mears getting the elbows out, and he moves the State Farm 55 into the 5th position. And you're going to see pit stops now right around this halfway mark. Stewart dives in, and Jimmy Johnson moves in from the lead, and the caution flag is out. Believe it might have been the 24 of Jeff Gordon. And it was, as Gordon gets spun around by Kyle Busch, who evidently was not intending on pitting while Gordon was. Gordon does a 360, gets into the wall. Gordon had the hand out the window, but Kyle Busch didn't give him the time of day, and bit of spotter miscommunication, and 24 ends up in the wall. So we are under caution for the second time here tonight, and that flips this race on its head. Harvick leads the remainder of the field down pit road. Most of the field is going to stay on the lead lap here. I believe a couple of cars are going to have to get the lucky dog, or rather waved around, as 3 cars that were lapped stay out. Going to be actually pretty tight here. Jimmy Johnson might retain the lead out of the pit lane. We will see. And he will. So Jimmy Johnson, a bit of a lucky break. Holds on to first, despite the mismatch of pit strategy. A couple of cars are going to have to check up here, as it's a big, big mix-up with some leaving pit road in front of others coming around. But we are under caution here for the second time tonight. Jimmy Johnson right at the halfway mark. He's got the lead. 48 is going to restart in first place as we take an intermission here from the Dr. Pepper 400. Back from intermission here at Nashville as we get set to go green. Jimmy Johnson will be your race leader. As the top 5 goes Stewart, Edwards, Andretti, and Harvick. Bit of a mix-up there thanks to the pit stop woes with the caution coming out during the yellow flag. Carl Edwards reporting fuel pressure issues over the radio as we go green. And that is not working out for the 19 car as he is going absolutely nowhere. And the field begins to split him. This is disastrous for the 19 as he falls way, way out of it. And Kennington, his teammate, getting into the back of him as the field stacks up behind. Absolutely nowhere for anybody to go. Boyer's number 4 trying to go around the outside with Truex. Kennington is careening down the order as the whole bottom lane is stuck behind this 19. And now he gets filtered up to the top side instead. Kyle Busch stuck behind. Everybody gets past. Meanwhile, up front, Stewart moves in front of the 48 for the lead. The front end of the field single files out as everybody is still trying to get around this 19 of Edwards, who hasn't gotten the chance to bring it down pit road. And still a bunch of drivers getting around this 19. Kyle Busch, Biffle getting stuck behind. Almost got taken 3 wide. I'm surprised these guys haven't taken him 3 wide. See Jeff Gordon, who got damage repairs under that yellow flag, going by on the bottom side. And my goodness, Kyle Busch, Biffle, Newman all ending up way behind the rest of the field thanks to this 19. Biffle and Newman get down to the bottom. Kyle Busch might go to dead last here, and it's looking like that's going to be the case, as he is going to have to find a way around here, and Edwards will bring it down pit road. Kyle Busch ends up all the way at the back of the field, and we are still under green. So now, after that chaos on the start, your top 5 is 42, 48, 21, 40, and 20. And the top 10 is 12, 2, 55, 10, and 31. As J.J. Yaley, who had a great qualifying going into this race, fell down the order after the initial start, has clawed his way back into the top 10. Field very strung out thanks to the issues with Edwards, who is hopefully going to be able to get his car fixed. A real rough break for the pole sitter. So the race of mechanical failures continues. How about this 21, John Andretti trying to get underneath of Jimmy Johnson down into turn 1 here. Side by side for second place. And Andretti moves into the runner-up position in the 21 car. How about this? Already been in the top 10 for the majority of tonight's race, and now in a great position thanks to the pit stops. And as this race continues to wind down, finds himself in an excellent spot. But Johnson not going down easy, thinking about going underneath into turn 3, but going to be patient here. They're continuing to battle for 4th on back behind these two. Andretti trying to fend off this 48, but Johnson is finally going to have his way and gets back underneath, and man, he drove it off into turn 1. That opens the door for Andretti to maybe cut back here out of turn 2. Johnson going to block the 21 up into the wall. Andretti goes low into 3. Side by side through turns 3 and 4. Johnson a great run on the outside though, and he holds on to second place. Man, shot out of a cannon there out of turn 4, and Bellows 48 just checked out in front of Andretti. Harvick in 4th place. Brad Keselowski has now emerged in 5th, having himself a great race here tonight. Tony Stewart out front right now. Harvick trying to move underneath of Andretti for 3rd, but for Tony Stewart, last time he went to victory lane, it was at Vegas last season. It's been over a year since Tony Stewart last went to victory lane, and that's a long time for this man, as Tony Stewart, one of the winningest drivers over the last handful of seasons in NASCAR, and of course, a 2-time Cup champion. It's been a while since that 42 last saw victory lane, and he has had a very competitive race here tonight, has shot through the field, found his way up front. Now has one of the most competitive cars in the field late. But Jimmy Johnson, who has dominated the middle portion of this show, trying to make it a challenge for Tony Stewart and that Chip Ganassi 42 team. Stewart's got some company to contend with late here in tonight's race. Harvick also in the 20, moved into 3rd, though Andretti might be trying to retake that position here, and he did get underneath a Harvick on the front stretch. Inside 40 to go here from Nashville. Battle for the lead begins to brew. It's the Dr. Pepper 400 here from the ESPN Network as we take you to crank it up here in the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. You saw it there, the first edition of the Helmet Cam, State Farm Helmet Cam on board the 55 car of Casey Mears. Lap number 74 here from the Dr. Pepper 400, as currently, right now, it is a tight battle between Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson for this race win, as both drivers are looking for their first trophy in 2007. And here comes Jimmy Johnson on the bottom versus Tony Stewart going into turn 3 side by side. Stewart trying to hang on that outer line. We've seen it work a little bit better later in this race, but Johnson a great run. He's going to lead the lap. Still side by side here as they enter turn 1, and Jimmy Johnson moves back into the race lead here late. But Stewart trying to pull the crossover off. Got a great run out of turn 2. Pulling back down to the bottom side. Two of the sport's very best going at it. Great run by Johnson on the outside. Stays a nose ahead going into turn 1, but Stewart's not going to give it up. Down into 1 this time. Stewart clear of Johnson. Can the 48 pull the crossover now as they leave turn 2? Down the backstretch. Johnson right on the back bumper. Does he make a move down to the bottom in 3? He does not. Seen Johnson be patient all night long, and once again, he's going to bide his time. Stewart back to the lead. Johnson still right on the back bumper of that 42. Going to give a look down the back stretch. Going into turn 3. Does he get underneath him this time? He does. Once again, side by side between the top two. Does Stewart have what it takes on that outer line? I think that 48's got a little bit of a better read on that top line and how hard you can run it. And Johnson gets back out to the lead. .48 back to first. Stewart drops to second. Andretti trying to reel these guys in from third, but he's a long way out. Keselowski is in fourth. Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5 late in the running. Approaching 20 laps to go just a couple of times from now, and you would have to imagine final pit stop in tonight's race is looming for these race leaders. And there it is. You see Tony Stewart dive it down pit road. See if we keep it clean coming into the pit lane this time. Field is a lot more spread out than they were last time by. And it's looking like that will be the case, as at least the first round of pitters bring it down clean. Jimmy Johnson stays out to hold on to first, but he should bring it down in a lap or two. And he is going to bring it down from the lead on lap number 80. Kevin Harvick and Casey Kane, as well as Casey Mears, are going to stay out. Field manages the pit lane cleanly this time as well. So here comes the money stop. Harvick leaving the pit lane. Already out on the racetrack as Johnson brings it in on lap number 81 from the race lead. For and fuel going on for the Lowe's Chevrolet. Right around that 20 to go mark, we'll see if the shortcut pays off. For Tony Stewart. Johnson out in front of the rest of his group on the access road. 42, Stewart rounding turns 1 and 2, and it is going to be a commanding lead for Tony Stewart out of the pits. Shortcut pays dividends, and Stewart back to the race lead. For and fuel going on for current race leader Kevin Harvick as he is going to leave the pit lane. But he obviously is not going to be the race leader, as there goes Stewart, who has a gargantuan lead now. Harvick rejoins the racetrack. And this time by for the leader, Tony Stewart, as he now officially takes the lead back. 20 laps to go for the Bass Pro Shops Dodge. And he is cruising out in front of the field now. What a pit stop by that 42. So out of the pit lane, it's Stewart, Johnson, Andretti, Keselowski, and Harvick, the top 5. Battling for second place here, Andretti and Jimmy Johnson side by side for the runner-up spot. And again, that 48 so strong on that outside in turns 3 and 4, though. And he is going to clear. But Andretti going to again try to get underneath him into turn 1. And a beautiful move down the bottom. Johnson still trying to stick it on that outside. 48's got a great race car for defense on that outer line. Still side by side as they enter turn 3. Andretti trying to clear. Still doesn't quite have him, though. Johnson hanging tight on that outside. Pulls all the way even going into turn 1. And again, Jimmy Johnson on the outside. What a move by that 48. And he managed to clear him out of turn 2. I cannot believe he pulled that off. No one has been able to work that outside like the 48 has tonight. Wow. So Johnson holds on to P2. Andretti drops back down to third again. Harvick trying to pass Keselowski for the 4th spot. Kennington, man, what a recovery drive by this 81. Gotta look back where Kennington was at his lowest. After the issues on the restart, he got real low. Was about 15th. Thought it might have been lower than that, but pulls all the way up to 6th. Might have a shot at the top 5 late here tonight. Was the early dominant car. Hasn't quite had anything materialize for the lead since then. Right now for Tony Stewart, the race leader, it's a 2.8 second lead over Jimmy Johnson in the 48. And approaching 10 to go. Was 15 to go last time. Now 14 laps left. He is absolutely in position to cruise, but Jimmy Johnson gained 4/10 that last time on the race leader. So might not be out of the woods yet is Tony Stewart. As Jimmy Johnson, who has probably led the most laps here tonight, still within a shouting chance. And he gained another 4/10. So Johnson laying down some monster laps right now. Trying to make it close at the end of this race. Andretti not far out of it in third. Stewart ran a little bit better that time and Johnson dropped off, so 2/10 back to the 42. Again, Johnson basically has to be perfect all the way to the end of the race in order to even make this close. With that just beautiful pit stop by Stewart. Again, if he can lay down some good laps here at the end of this race, which he is doing, he is absolutely home free. Just needs this thing to go incident free for the rest of the night. And he is in perfect position. Kennington moved into the top 5, now trying to get his teammate for 4th. Might take fellow rookie Keselowski with him. And the 2 is going to jump underneath that 20 going into. And we have an issue with Scott Wimmer blowing up with 10 laps to go and the caution's out. And that flips this race on its head all over again. Wimmer from the top 10 with an engine issue. He is going to be out of this race. And we are under caution for the 3rd time tonight. And Stewart, who had that 2-second lead, is going to watch it evaporate as we go to yellow flag. Caution comes out inside 10 to go. And that is absolutely what Stewart did not want to see. No pitters under yellow flag. Carl Edwards will be the lucky dog, moved to 1 lap down. We'll take an intermission here from Nashville as Tony Stewart, the race leader. This race just got absolutely flipped over, and we will be right back here from the Dr. Pepper 400. Back from intermission here at Nashville as we get set to go. Tony Stewart, the 42 car, in some trouble here late as we get set for the restart. Stewart will restart in first place. Jimmy Johnson, the dominant car of the night, in second. Andretti will restart in third. Kennington will be in P4. Brad Keselowski, fifth. Harvick, McMurray, Kane Jr., and Truex Jr. round out the top 10. And it is anybody's game now on a late race restart at this racetrack. It'll be 5 laps to go here from Nashville. And Tony Stewart looking to hold everybody off on what has suddenly turned into a nightmare scenario for the 42 car. Wimmer blows up another mechanical failure, the 4th mechanical DNF and 5th overall mechanical issue in tonight's race. It has been a war of attrition, but it's going to come down to a dash at the end of it as Tony Stewart looks to hold off everybody on this late race restart. Johnson looking to capitalize, everybody else hungry for what could be their best opportunity of the year. Pace car peels off on the left. 5 to go on the restart here in the Dr. Pepper 400 as Stewart will lead the field to the green, into the restart box. And the green flag waves. We're underway once again. A great start from Jimmy Johnson, and he's going to look to the inside going into turn 1. Andretti might make it a 3-horse race for the lead, but Johnson's clear for first out of turn 2. Andretti, a big dive bomb going into turn 3, all the way to the back bumper of the 48. Kennington might have a shot late as well. Stewart drops all the way to 4th. 4 to go. Kennington gets underneath the 21. Can he keep it there? He does. Johnson pulling away from the lead. Caution is out. Multiple cars upside down. Casey Atwood flipping on the backstretch. And that is going to end this race. Huge wreck on the backstretch on the final laps of this race. And Jimmy Johnson is going to be your winner, providing he makes it to the end of it. And that was a huge crash on the backstretch. Atwood flipping down the back. What in the world just happened? It was contact between the 57 and the 30 and a huge crash. 3 cars upside down. Oh my goodness. And Atwood comes to rest on his roof. 3 cars upside down on the backstretch here at Nashville. Wow. It was Riggs who cut down in front of the 30 in turn 2, and they just could not get off of each other, and my goodness. Sadler and Riggs end up upside down, and Atwood took a big shot to the driver's side door there. Although it looks like it was right in the left rear. Look on the rear view camera here of David Reagan. Goodness, what a shot. And Casey Atwood flipped, I have no idea how many times after that shot from Boris Said. Count the flips here. Flipped over once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and a half times on the backstretch. And Riggs and Sadler also upside down as well. Neither of them came to rest on their roofs. But a couple of flips for Sadler. And Riggs over twice as well. Nowhere for Boris Said or Jeff Gordon to go. And everybody, miraculously, is out of their cars and okay. Jimmy Johnson has taken the white flag. And Jimmy Johnson, after a dominant race here tonight at Nashville, closes it out. This race ends prematurely under yellow. 3 cars upside down on the backstretch here tonight. Andretti, what a run for this 21 car. Came up just short of the win here tonight. Might have had something for that 48 if we didn't end up ending under yellow flag. He got back to that second spot, although Kennington was underneath him going towards turn 1. But second place, a great run for Andretti. He finishes in P2. Kennington will bring it home in 3rd. Tony Stewart, heartbreaking result. Was so close to getting that first win in 2007. He finishes 4th. And Kevin Harvick, another solid run, finishes in the 5th position. Jimmy Johnson, out of turn 4 under yellow flag, is going to conclude tonight the winner. First win of 2007 for Jimmy Johnson. Finally gets that first win. And he wins it here tonight. And the rest of the top 10, Keselowski will finish 6th. Excuse me, Jesus. 6th for the 2 car. McMurray, a commendable God. Can't talk here tonight. McMurray finishes in 7th. 8th place goes to Casey Kane. A great run for him. Truex, a very nice recovery drive as well. Finishes in the 9th position. And J.J. Yaley, a great run all around for him. Finishes in 10th to round out the top 10. And that concludes the race here tonight. But it is a shocking conclusion to the Dr. Pepper 400 here from Nashville. I don't really know what to make of what we just saw on the backstretch there. That was a massive accident. Somehow everybody walked away from it. Really could not tell you how. But Atwood, Said, Riggs, Sadler, they are all right. And Jimmy Johnson, under caution here tonight, is your winner. And that will do it here from the Dr. Pepper 400. Here from NASCAR on ESPN, I've been your host, Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along, as always, and we thank you for watching. And as always, have yourself a good one, and we will see you next time.